I'm Johnny Price in Greenville, South Carolina, and this is another of our Talking Head film analyses, where normally we are not so much concerned with how good a movie might be as we are with the ideas that are presented within the movie. However, the film at hand, the artist, has no ideas that it presents to us really worthy of discussion. But it has been nominated for 10 Academy Awards. So how can we not discuss it? Nominated for 10 Oscars, including Best Picture, which is one award that I'm convinced it does not deserve. For one thing, when you look at the competition that it's up against, and then there are a couple of other reasons that I will mention in just a moment. It has already won a slew of other awards, 45 to be exact, including the Golden Globe Best Picture. And it has received 77 nominations in addition to the 10 that it received from the Academy. So it will come as no news to anyone who cares that The Artist is a silent movie, shot in black and white, box formatted, so the picture is square on the screen rather than rectangular, and shot at 22 rather than 24 frames per second, just as silent movies were shot during the silent movie era. The director and the two main stars are French. I don't speak French, and therefore I am not going to risk embarrassment by trying to pronounce their names. But what I will tell you is that the director does an absolutely superb job with the entire movie, and he certainly does a superb job with its cast, which includes in supporting roles John Goodman, Penelope Ann Miller, Malcolm McDowell, and James Cromwell. The premise is that silent movie idol George Valentine sees his career go quickly down the tubes with the advent of talkies, while at the same time the career of a younger, lovely actress who George discovered, her career ascends. Now, the reason that I say that I don't think it deserves to win the Best Picture Oscar is because, first of all, the story itself is very slight. But also, rather than going back and sculpting a script from the time period the film represents, what they have done is they have leaned heavily on two earlier films, A Star is Born and Singing in the Rain, two talkies that have as their basic plot the demise of the careers of silent movie stars when the talkies come along, and the efforts of newly successful actors to come to the rescue. The Artist is basically a novelty film, but a novelty film with value. For one thing, it's completely entertaining from start to finish, and there is some really funny stuff in this movie. Secondly, although you don't have to be a film history buff to enjoy the movie, there are a number of nods to famous people and notable scenes from the past. I've already mentioned A Star is Born and Singing in the Rain. But also, George Valentine will remind many of Douglas Fairbanks, Frederick March, and John Gilbert. Incidentally, John Gilbert was one of the most famous silent luminaries to stumble because of the talkies. And Greta Garbo tried desperately to save John Gilbert's career. Then when in The Artist, George Valentine says in despair, "I want to be alone," it echoes Garbo in Grand Hotel when her character says in despair, "I want to be alone." Just as the scene where George is tearing a room apart is reminiscent of a similar scene in Citizen Kane. Then there's the fact that The Artist is a celebration of movies. Although I don't think he comes anywhere close to the way Martin Scorsese's Hugo stirred up love for old movies and their makers. Then, by being a silent film, it reminds us of the unseen artists who are behind every movie. The director and the composer of the score. Because in The Artist, the music becomes as important as George and Pepe, because it becomes the voices of these two characters. Also, even if you've seen silent movies before, here's an opportunity to have the experience in a theater with an audience, hearing nothing but the audience and an occasional cough. Finally, hopefully, The Artist will encourage people to go back and revisit, or perhaps in some cases visit for the first time, some of the great wealth of silent cinema that's available on DVD. I'm Johnny Price, and this has been another of our Talking Head film analyses.